this, we up.
Welcome to the State of Hockey podcast, featuring Justin Jelnick and Joe Hayford. Let's talk hockey.
Welcome to the State of Hockey podcast, episode 15 edition for July 14th, 2015. I am Justin Jelnick of the State of Hockey blog, along with my co-host Joe Hayford. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. It's been a busy couple weeks since we last did a show. A lot of free agency stuff is happening.
Yeah, and we glad we didn't record last night. It looks like the Wild signed their first overall pick.
Yes,
or first round pick, I should say.
Yes, from this past year, Mr. Eriksson Ek, officially Wild, although he is fully expected to play one more year back in Sweden at least.
Hey, get him all the seasoning and conditioning he needs.
Absolutely.
We'll see him up here in a couple of years, taking over for Mikko Koivu when Koivu retires. He's kind of going to be on the Granlund plan, I guess, where he goes back to Europe for a bit and then tries to make his way through here. I have no problems with that. I'm actually more excited to see Greenway.
I agree. I don't know if you made it over to the prospect scrimmage on Saturday. I did with our little girl in tow, but we weren't sure we were going to make it at all. So
I did not. Unfortunately, I had some things going on at work. Hadn't had a chance to make it over there, but it looked like it went pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, I was able to watch stuff, and I was definitely excited about how Mike Riley looked for sure.
Mike Riley looked great, and again, that's why I mentioned the Greenway situation.
Mm-hmm.
I got a chance to look at the Wild.com video archive, so to speak, of the games,
mm-hmm.
and I saw him set up a bunch of good plays, and he looked stellar.
He really did. Eriksson Ek looked really good as well. And
he did.
It was a good time. So nice being in the ice cold rink on a 90-degree day.
Yes.
So,
and it was pretty brutal out there too.
Yeah, you'll have another chance tonight at 6:30 at the XL Energy Center if you want to go get your summer fix of free hockey. So it's always a good time, prospect scrimmage. So.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, so that was good news that the Wild made official on Monday. Eriksson Ek signed. General Managers got him at a 3-year, $925,000 deal. So I think that's pretty much your standard entry-level deal.
Now, actually, I have a question for you. Does that start when he goes to Sweden, or does that start when he comes back?
That starts when he comes back.
Nice.
I believe so. Because I think that was part of the deal with Granlund, was he didn't start burning his ELC until he came here. If anybody's listening and thinks I'm completely wrong on this, please let me know. I wouldn't want to assume I'm correct here, but that's kind of how I remember it being. So.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. I wanted to verify.
Yeah, so well, let us know if we're wrong, listeners. But that's kind of what I think. So
I'm sure Tony Wiseau will let us know. The narrative slayer, as he likes to claim.
I love that handle.
Yes, he is a slayer of the narrative.
And some narratives do need slaying. So okay, well, the Wild's cap situation is pretty ugly, and it probably cost them a chance to bring back Chris Stewart. He signs with the Ducks over the weekend on a $1.7 million deal.
I honestly think that we didn't negotiate for him. I think he would have signed here for 1.4 or 1.3.
Yeah.
I think he was willing to do the little bit of the discount from what I heard from him.
Even that would have been a stretch for a while. There's General Managers got them at $2.4 million in cap space. That's before Hollow's arbitration. And assuming they probably need one more forward beyond that, probably one of their existing AHL forwards will make the team this year.
Graovac.
Yep. You're on Team Graovac, huh?
I'm on Team Graovac. That's assuming Schrader's up here.
Yes.
Permanently, and we need another one besides him.
And Schrader's counted right now, so honestly, they're probably going to end up spending the cap just filling those last two forward spots. And
I will say I'm extremely upset that we did not bring Kyle Brodzy back at the
$900,000
ridiculous price of $900,000 that was given to him by St. Louis.
I agree. That probably would have solved needing
that
one of the two
guy
forward spots.
is worth at least what Stewart is.
Yeah. Well,
and anyone who decides to argue with that point with me, feel free. We can have it out on Twitter all day long. But it's probably one of the best defensive centermen in the league, next to maybe Patrice Bergeron. Defensive centerman.
I do agree. And for everything he does, killing penalties, winning draws, the only thing he has trouble doing is scoring. So that's the only quibble I would have with comparing his value to Chris Stewart's. But otherwise,
well, he's a fourth line center.
Yeah. Yes, he is. So.
I mean, what else can you ask for from a fourth line center? That's what his job is.
I agree.
And now we don't have anyone to punch anyone in the face anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, Spurgeon's probably our feistiest guy we have. While Prosser.
I do love Spurgeon, though.
I love Spurgeon.
That's well documented.
And it doesn't look like we're going to have a cap casualty of Spurgeon since we didn't sign Stewart. So.
Yep, that's true. So, and yeah, I mean, the only thing was that where I would value Stewart and Brodzy differently is Stewart's still a guy you can plug in the top six when you need to. Brodzy isn't that.
That's true. I agree.
So
but
that would be my only quibble with you. Otherwise, he's definitely a guy you want on the team. And sorry, he's going to St. Louis.
I might have gotten a little emotional in my speak there, but Brodzy at $900,000 is a steal, and I think that any GM would agree with me.
Especially knowing you're going to need one more forward anyway, even after
one more centerman.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, centermen to us are like gold right now. They've got a plan on moving Coyle to center full time.
They've got Koivu, Granlund, Carter, and I don't know. They have Howell listed as a center and Schrader listed as a center, but those guys all float around. So.
Yeah, and I mean Coyle is a true centerman.
Yes, so and they do have So maybe that's where they're heading, but
we'll see. It's just
hey, you're doing the we'll sees this week. Rock on.
I mean it's
not me.
I hate that. That was the biggest loss for the Wild. And if you're going to be negative about anything that the Wild did this offseason, I think that's the only thing you can get them on.
I guess the only reason in my mind to let Brodzy walk is if you are really believing in a Graovac or somebody is ready to make the jump next year, you don't want to block.
Yeah, but for $900,000, I don't think that's a guy that you can keep, like we were talking about, as a healthy scratch.
Yeah, most minor leaguers are going to cost you that anyway, unless they're playing for the minimum, which is like $575.
Exactly.
So
that's a steal of a deal, and I cannot believe that. I mean, the only thing I can see is if the Wild are gearing up to sign Cullen for somewhere around that price.
Well, that could be too. He's still sitting there,
and that's the only way I think. Well,
that's the only way you're going to forget Fletcher for this.
Even then, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case.
I posed the question of if they could get Stewart under the cap, if that would work, and he told me no.
If Cullen signs for $900,000, I would forgive Fletcher, I think.
Okay. So, on the whole, though, I mean, without this, what you think is a gaffe here on the Brodzy deal, on the whole, on everything else Fletcher's done, which actually isn't that much.
I'd give him an A-.
Really?
And the only reason it's not an A+ is because of the Brodzy deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, he hasn't really made a lot of changes. He hasn't brought back anybody we didn't expect. Bergenheim's going to walk. Cook was bought out.
Yeah, I mean, the way you have to look at it here is we're getting rid of the players that we need to get rid of to make room for the young guys coming up that need to develop a little bit more.
Yeah.
Our core is still there. The chemistry keeps building year to year. We were 12th in scoring in the league last year. For those of you who want to say we need more scorers, that number is going to increase. We're gonna be in the top 10 next year because chemistry is gonna keep building. Mm-hmm. And Pominville can only miss so many shots, so I think he's due for a huge year.
He had a down year, and I'm not ready to crucify him over one down year. Just like with Ryan.
Oh, and I'm not either.
And we've totally crucified him on this podcast.
Pominville, I haven't crucified
Suter.
him. Suter.
I switched gears. Yeah. And I'm still not ready to say that's how he's going to be for the rest of his career just because he had one bad year. So.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I
And-
think my issue with Suter had more to do with his off the ice antics than it did with his on the ice.
Yeah. And the fact that he's just totally given up on the offensive side of his game, it seems.
Well, and I don't know if that had to do. I think that he was holding the team together, and I hate to really give him an out here, but I think I'm going to try. He got beat down. I mean, he was basically the only defenseman playing, 100% when Kemper was out there getting 4 or 5 goals scored against him every game.
Yeah.
In December, January.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really took a toll on him. I think that really put him in a position where he didn't feel like he could take that extra step in, where he thought he had to be back. And I think that really played some mind games with him. And if you saw at the end of the year there, he started to step into the play a little bit more. I think he was getting more comfortable, more confident with it.
And I'll pile on a bit. Scandell and Spurgeon's absences during the spring probably didn't help that at all for him either. And
I agree, and I'm not discounting anything from them because they weren't even there.
Right. I mean,
Brodeen had some time out. Scandella was out for most of that. I think Spurgeon took a concussion during that time. Mm-hmm. So he was kind of shouldering the entire load there, and I think it got to him a little bit mentally where he didn't feel like he could step into the play. He had to, cover Kemper a little bit, and you saw it at the end of the year. He started to step into the play a little bit more.
So,
and
I think
he got his confidence back. So we'll see how the year boils out.
Boy, that's 2 for you now. You're totally turning into me. We'll see. Yeah, I think what has to happen with Suter is that they got to make a decision. If he's not going to be an offensive guy, and he certainly doesn't have to be as valuable as he is, but then he probably doesn't need the extra 4 minutes on the power play every night.
I absolutely agree. I think right now we have 3 superb offensive defensemen in Scandella, Spurgeon, and Dumba.
And if Riley makes the team. Oh.
And if who?
Riley makes the team.
Yeah, Mike Riley is another one.
Yeah.
Having those guys out there, I mean, I could see mixing Suter in there every once in a while, especially at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. Maybe with Riley.
Yep.
And getting Riley some experience in that role, which he didn't really have too much in the playing with the Gophers. Mm. Gophers were not a big penalty-taking team.
Yep.
So getting him some experience there, obviously Riley's going to spend some time in the AHL, but I do expect him to be up by the end of the year.
So you think he'll go on the Dumbo plan?
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be up at the end of the year, maybe even a few games in the middle.
I guess Dumba did actually make the team out of camp last year and ended up being sent down after a month.
Yes, he did. Well, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
and I actually got to see him score his first NHL goal on my birthday against the Stars.
Cool.
Him and Fonzie.
Nice. Well done.
Same game.
So Wildcat ugliness is thus. They have spent about 68.5. The cap is about 70.9. So $2.4 million. They probably need to sign 2 forwards, one of which will be an arbitration award with Eric Haula. I can't imagine he's going to get a 7-figure award.
No, I think he's going to be more in the range of about $800,000. Yeah.
So
if they don't just tender him.
Yeah. Well, I believe they have tendered him, and they.
Sorry, I keep.
And that's why
thinking baseball. Sorry.
Yeah.
Baseball arbitration is different.
Oh yeah. So
for the last year, you can tender your or your restricted free agents, and they just get the minimum.
Right. So no, the NHLPA's got the arbitration routes for this purpose.
So yeah, that's. I mean, if he gets anything more than $800,000, I'm very okay with seeing him go.
Yeah.
He does have a role to play, and I like Eric Haula, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm. And the team can walk away from whatever award if they want to, but then he becomes
he shows signs of becoming Thomas Vanek, and that just without the skill.
Oh, let's not kill the poor guy yet.
No, and that's why I said he's showing signs. He's not there yet, but he does have his lazy moments.
Yeah. Well, even Zucker had that too, and he's really stepped it up and become a true two-way player.
Yeah, Zucker is a beast.
Yes, he is.
On any other team, I think he might be on that first line.
Yeah. So, but the unfortunate thing is that because they have to carry burn a roster spot Nick Backstrom unless Fletcher finds a taker, they're really only going to be able to carry a spare forward and a spare D.
Yeah.
That's going to be the challenge. That's the real price of Backstrom, because as we found out, they never stood to get cap relief because that was an over 35 deal. And so we've learned our lesson about over 35 deals, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
So, all right, Fletcher. I don't think Fletcher's a perfect GM, but I think it's fair to say I am a fan. I think he's done more good than bad, but he's clearly had his bad moments.
You know what? He's going to be spending most of the first part of the season anyway on one thing you're not considering. He's going to spend most of the first half of the season on injured reserve recovering from the surgery. So
yeah,
that's an extra roster spot we'll have.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
And who's to say he doesn't develop another groin injury in practice?
That's so screwed Fletcher over in so many ways. But yeah, that's the long and the short of it. So probably 2 more forwards to go for the Wild, one of which will be Eric Haula if they go forward with their arbitration deal, or they make a deal before that, which is what usually happens.
Yeah, and I honestly see them signing, somewhat of a no-name type person, like a Bergenheim type.
Yes, but not him again.
But not him. Yes, they're going to sign someone,
but not Bergenheim.
Right. That's a veteran player
right.
That's signable for $1 and a half.
Yeah, well, they can't even really afford that with only 2.4 in space and probably.
Right, it's somewhere in that medium there. Haula is going to be about $800,000.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be a tight year, but it's gonna get better next year for no other reason. Cap's gonna go up a bit, and Backstrom's contract comes off the books.
Yeah, it's gonna be about $5 million right there that we're gonna clear up. So
and even if that ends up being Spurgeon's money, that's still a good deal as far as I'm concerned.
Yep, Spurgeon, and then Zucker's up here at the end of next year, isn't he?
He's still unrestricted, so.
Right.
So I'm sure he'll still come reasonably cheap unless he has a crazy year, which we hope, of course.
I wouldn't. I would put my money in Vegas on Zucker having a big year. I'm gonna go 30 plus goals.
Oh, that is a big year. I'd love to see it. So
he was pacing for that before he hurt his shoulder.
That's true. So, that could be fun. 30 goals, Zucker. Oh man, that would definitely make the top 10 scoring team next year.
Absolutely, and you got Nino Niederreiter, who had a down year by Nino Niederreiter standards, so
yep.
See him step up into a bigger role
because
we're losing, Brodzy, and we're losing the veterans. So he's going to have a bigger role being a more seasoned player now.
We didn't really talk about the Granlund contract. He got 6/2, apparently.
Yep,
so
I don't want to talk about that.
A lot of people thought that was a little on the high side.
I think that's another reason why I'm not a big fan of Fletcher's offseason. I mean, I still believe that our team is good, and Granlund is an integral part of that, but that was a little higher price to pay coming off the season he had. Yeah. Especially because it was literally designed to be a bridge deal.
Yeah. I would have been a little more comfortable around 2.5, and, every 100,000 counts when the Wild are so close. We'll be talking about real money pretty soon, Joe, huh?
Yeah.
I would sign for 100,000.
Yeah, I think I would too. I'd sign for 20,000.
Yeah. Funny they're not calling us.
No, I don't think that'll happen.
We got a few interesting tweets. I was just throwing out thoughts about the Wild summer so far. I've got one from Jeff Swanson at Biff Sticks. He said free agency is about as expected. No money for FAs unless we unload contracts. Kind of want to see Palmer go. And you're kind of on the maybe we can trade Palmer.
I am not on that.
No, you're not on that.
That card. No, not at all.
It's the Granlund one you were on. Yeah.
Palmer's due a big year, and he's a very big part of this team. You got to remember, he was a captain in Buffalo.
Yes. Well, have all the captains.
Yes, we need that leadership. I mean,
was Cullen a captain of some sort down in Nashville? Do you know?
He was an assistant captain, I believe.
Oh, so he's totally signing here. You heard it here first. Cullen's totally signing here as part of the Wild's effort to get all the captains.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put it past us signing Cullen. I really wouldn't. I think he
No.
wants to come back here. I think Fletcher wants him back here. And like I said, that might be the hidden agenda here with letting Brodzy go for $900,000.
And Fletcher wants your forgiveness.
I'm sure that's on top of his list.
Gotta be. So,
absolutely.
We got Tom Hohen, THOEN88 on the Twitter. He says free agency as expected. Ability is on the roster, but players producing need more ice time. 16 and 22. So Zucker and Nino need more ice time.
I agree with that.
I would as well.
Yeah, I think that they need to be more on the power play, and it seems like we got Koivu out there entirely too much, and he's a playmaker when he's on, but I think Koivu needs to come off, and I hate people that rip on Koivu, I really do, because he's a great player.
He really is.
But I agree with them on that aspect. He does not belong in that number one power play.
I'll add Charlie Coyle to that list, too, of players needing more ice time.
Yeah, and Coyle would be actually a great guy to take the spot of Koivu on that number one power play.
So, okay. I've got one more tweet I'll mention here. This is our friend Rebecca Catherine, at Rebecca Catherine, except that there's only one CA in there. I'll link it. You can see how she spells it if you want to tweet at her. She says Wild free agency has not been as exciting as women's soccer.
I guess I don't know. I follow the free agency a little bit more than I follow women's soccer.
I'm a soccer file, as we talked about in the Great Tie Debate. So, and no, I definitely like watching the Women's World Cup. It's nice that the Americans have one successful team in this sport, and you shouldn't send the men to do a women's job, I guess, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I would think soccer would be so much more fun to watch if it were played on like half the field.
Yes. They have this arena soccer. It's kind of like a minor league sport. That's kind of interesting. When I lived in Wisconsin, I used to watch that.
Oh, that would be so fun to watch.
Fun, yeah. I mean, it's just like indoor lacrosse, except they build the soccer goals into the end boards. So
there you go.
So everything hits the post essentially if it misses. Which is kind of cool. But yeah, congratulations to the United States women's national team taking down the World Cup in dramatic fashion. Not really. It was 4-0 after 15 minutes. My little girl spit up after the second goal, and I missed 2 more goals before we got back to the game.
Total domination by the women.
So, congratulations there. So, as always, we like your comments, so use the hashtag SOTSOPod, SOTSOH pod, or just reply to any tweet that has that hashtag. It's fair game. You've been warned. But if you tweet at us, you want us to talk about it, and we like talking about it.
Absolutely.
So keep sending us tweets. It's a good time. Although I know it's hard because we're not doing as many shows over the summer. We're just doing...
about every 2 weeks we should be on.
That would be good. I'm just trying so hard this summer not to melt.
Yeah, it's unbelievably hot outside.
Oh, ridiculous. So hopefully the heat breaks by the time this thing drops. So
yeah, no, I work outside all day.
Yes, you do. Crazy man. I work in comfortable air conditioning.
Lucky.
That's the joys of being a real life computer coder.
Yeah. Well, I get my air conditioned truck that unfortunately the company has to pay for a lot of gas because I leave it running all day so it stays air conditioned.
That's alright. That's their nickel. So, but yeah, so I guess we're not expecting much else to happen this summer.
I wouldn't put a deal past Chuck Fletcher, but
yeah, of course,
we'll see.
Six-player trade tomorrow, 5 minutes after the podcast drops. I'm calling it.
And you know what? That's Andy warned us about that. Actually,
that is his fear. Is that?
Yes.
So the Wild announced their signing of Eriksson Ek on the Facebook and the Twitter this morning, and they had something in the image that bothered you, Joe.
Yeah, point of contention, people. And the average rube on Twitter, I kind of let it slide and just chalk it up to it is supposed to be singular, but the Wild, as it refers to the team that we cheer for and love so much, that's plural. It's a noun and it's plural. It's an organization full of people. The Wild don't signs anyone. The Wild sign people. And the Wild they posted on their Instagram and Twitter and Facebook today that Wild signs Joel Eriksson Ek. And it drives me insane. The Ducks don't signs people. The Blackhawks don't signs people.
But they use
they
real nicknames.
Sign people.
The Avalanches.
Get it right. Jeez.
Yeah. This is just one of the pitfalls of having a team nickname that isn't plural in the first place. I totally agree with you. It should be the other way.
I'm
no
sure
English
their
major,
social
though.
media coordinator makes some pretty good money. Not to mention they probably get pretty good tickets.
But at the same time, Russo refers to the Wild as an it, not a they.
Well, then Russo you know what? I'm going to be tweeting at Russo tonight too.
Yeah. And that's just always not rung true. I mean, it could be correct. I'm no grammar expert.
Maybe we should get Miss Murphy on for English lesson here. She is an English teacher.
Maybe that's a way to trick her to doing a summer show where there's no actual hockey.
There we go. She'd be all over the English.
All right, let's work that out. So, okay, so neato. All right.
Anyways, that's my pet peeve rant of the day.
There's been worse ones, so.
And the other thing, stay positive, guys. The Wild are a great team. We made it to the second round of the playoffs again. There are 22 other teams that didn't make it that far.
Yep.
So be happy that we're in that percentile, and we have a great team, and it's only going to get better with chemistry. So
maybe I'm
chin up.
Maybe I'm a little too zen about this, but I guess I'm not so into the. I just see the final result as tangential. It's the journey that's worth enjoying. Seeing teams that can get good results and struggle and get better is where the joy of fandom is to me. I mean, obviously, if the Wild win the Stanley Cup, I'm going to lose my mind. But if they don't, it doesn't mean I'm going to start hating them.
Yeah, no, we should probably come up with some crazy thing that we're going to do if the Wild win the Stanley Cup.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't do crazy things.
Oh, come on. Maybe it's another thing that Miss Murphy is very good at doing is coming up with crazy things to do when an achievement is made.
Although I'm not gonna lie, I was ready to burn Brendan Shanahan in effigy after in Rice Park after the Pierre-Marc Bouchard suspension. Yes, yeah. I'm holding a 5-year-old grudge. Isn't that awesome? Oh, I miss you, Pierre-Marc Bouchard.
Yes. Where's he at? Maybe we can pick him up again.
I think he went back to Europe. So.
Hey, he'd be a cheap sign.
Yeah, could be. So.
He's another one that got a lot of criticism, and I don't think it was warranted.
Right. It was just... he just had the misfortune of the head injuries, which we know are so serious.
Absolutely.
And it
can be career enders. Look at Justin Morneau.
Yeah. No, that's sad too. We're going to end this show on a downer. That sucks.
No, we're going to end this show on a very positive note.
Oh,
Zucker is scoring 30-plus goals next year.
All right, we'll look forward to 30, 40, 70 for Zucker next year.
There we go.
How's that sound? All right, go Zucker. I like it. And Spurgeon gonna be good, and I think they're gonna do fine, but I think the way you're calling it right now, Brodzak's going to score the game winner, and St. Louis is going to knock them out of the playoffs next year. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Don't go that far.
No.
St. Louis just got rid of Oshie, and Brodzy does not replace an Oshie.
No, that's true. No, I really think the Wild have legit shots to take down the Central next year. They should be in the top 2 at the worst. I mean, Chicago's had to move some pieces, but they're still going to be really good.
Yeah, they're gonna be up there. I don't think they're gonna be as dominant as they.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be a dynasty type team anymore.
Shoot, they finished 3rd place last year.
Yeah, but
and only nipped the Wild by 2.
Yeah, they also played Crawford a lot less during the season than they normally do.
True. And came as a significant hunk of time toward the end.
I actually wouldn't put it past Quenneville that he rested the guys he needed to rest throughout the season, and he knew exactly what he was doing. I think that they finished right where they wanted to be, and they did exactly what they wanted to do.
You must admire the Q-stash.
Yeah, he is a mastermind when it comes to hockey, so
it'll be an exciting year.
It will
We're looking forward to it, but it's nowhere near. We're probably still 3 legit months away from the season.
It's not October yet, guys.
Yeah, it's certainly
not
October. But we'll try and do some podcasts here and there to help you through when the interesting things happen, or if we have ideas for topics and stuff. But I think we'll just wrap this one up here. So we'll see if we'll do anything more this summer, free agent-wise. I'm not really expecting it, other than a couple little signings.
Less is better, guys. Let's build the chemistry. Let's not add new guys to the mix.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Unless you can trade Vanek, then by all means, go ahead.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Good save. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll call that a show. For Joe Hayford, I'm Justin Jelinek. Thanks for listening to the State of Hockey podcast. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the State of the Hockey podcast. The music was created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, visit soundcloud.com/Deeb.